a run of success that just absolutely, for guys that age, because you got to remember the Whispers first started recording in 1964. They did not see what we would consider pop success until the first half of 1980. So we're talking 15 plus years in this, a long time. You're not going to see that again because people who make music for, commercial appeal, you get maybe one or two singles or one or two albums these days. That's it. You're done. These dudes put out album upon album upon album, single upon single upon single, Soul Train appearance upon Soul Train appearance. And it took until the 1980s when these guys were good and good. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to day 28 of the BMM 30 series here on the Groove Line with your host, Chris Stevens. Hopefully, you all are doing well this Saturday morning. If this is your first time tuning in, On the Groove Line is a music podcast, YouTube show that discusses music from the past, present, and future with jazz, funk, R&B, hip-hop, disco, EDM, all that good stuff. And BMM 30 means June is Black Music Month. So for 30 days, there will be an episode up, and there have been episodes up about genres, artists, bands, albums, songs, labels, sounds, eras, you name it, we have had it covered. We're taking a detour once again because we've lost another giant in the world of Black music. And this one hurts close to the heart. And I'll tell you why in a minute. I saw a post from Patty Jackson, a legendary WDAS radio personality out of Philly, that Walter Scott from the Whispers, one of the twins, had passed away at the age of 81 earlier that day. And that was an absolute gut punch to me because as a Whispers stan, I haven't done a Whispers episode this month because, well, I had one on my previous YouTube channel. I think I'm going to deconstruct that one and create a whole new one. Hopefully have some guests on to talk Whispers with me and all of that good stuff. But losing Walter Scott hurts. And, because him and his twin brother Scotty were the main lead voices of the Whispers from their start in the early 60s until Walter's passing. And the Whispers, to me, are one of the greatest American music stories that we don't talk nearly enough about. I mean, these are dudes who literally got it out of the mud. Just a real quick history. The Scott twins were born in Fort Worth, Texas, September 23rd, 1943. So they're Libras like myself. Their mom moved them to South Central LA when they were young. And they ended up, starting a group. And they ended up competing against a rival group in a high school talent show. And both of those groups lost, but they ended up merging to form a new group. And in that group was the Scott twins, the late Nicholas Caldwell, Marcus Hudson, who also has passed away, and Gordy Harmon, who just passed away recently as well. So they were signed to a record label by a guy named Lou Bedell, and he gave them the nickname of the Whispers because he said they sounded like a whisper. So they started recording music in 63, 64-ish. And it's interesting because Sly, we already did a Sly Stone episode, but before Sly went on to change the course of popular music, he was a radio DJ in the Bay Area. And he started playing Whispers records like that. So they moved to Oakland and became one of Oakland's hottest groups. But then Walter got drafted into the Army. This was back when Vietnam was going on in the late 60s. Walter explains it so hilariously on Whispers Unsung. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go find it. He said they can't draft twins, but they can only take the oldest one. He said the few minutes that I came out first ended up hurting me. So he was in the service for a couple years. So yes, he served his country proudly. So thank you, Walter Scott, for your service. He rejoined the group, and just as they were starting to, make some waves, they signed on with a manager named Dick Griffey, who was a music lover and a buff dude who could handle some of the muscle business as well as the financial aspects. So they get on Soul Train in the Chicago run. Remember, I said Soul Train debuted in Chicago in 1970 as a regional show, then went national in 1971. So the Whispers were just as widely associated with Soul Train as Don Cornelius was. So that's where they first performed Seems Like I Gotta Do Wrong. And they would continue to perform on Soul Train. In fact, they had my favorite theme song from the Soul Train years up on Soul Train, which went between 1980 and 1983. But the Whispers just couldn't break through. I mean, they were on Janus Records for a long time, and they just couldn't get anything going. I mean, you could argue that some of their early stuff was really good. Like, we talked about Seems Like I Gotta Do Wrong. I Only Meant to Wet My Feet. The entire Bingo album. The Bingo album was done by a group of MFSB guys. That's why the Whispers has such a huge following in my area, the Philadelphia area. I mean, the Bingo record was massively popular here back in the day. So they tell me. I wasn't around for it. That record came out in 1974. I was born in 1981. So I'm gonna go with the OGs on this one. But Dick Griffey and the Whispers kept trying. Of course, Dick Griffey had this friendship and partnership with Don Cornelius that led to Soul Train Records. But Don Cornelius was like, I ain't getting into this to make a record label. I got into this to make people dance and put something black on TV that people can identify with. So I got to get out this Soul Train Records thing. Dick Griffey said, cool. Give me your share and I'll take it from here. And Soul Train Records became Solar, Sound of Los Angeles Records, which is so funny because once again, when you look at the early Solar logo and font, it is a complete copy of the Soul Train font. Like Dick Griffey just took the U, the AIN out and the T and just said, hey, here's Solar Records and the N. Just said, here's Solar Records. We'll deal with the rest later. So those early Solar records are absolutely the same font as the Soul Train logo. It's hilarious. But regardless of that, the Whispers started to really get into a groove, with Living Together in Sin. And Walter sings lead on probably one of my 5 favorite Whisper songs, You Are Number One. And then by 78, they got this hit called Olivia, Lost and Turned Out, because the dude who wrote the song, his niece was in the game. A pimp came and got her. And that the happy ending goes that song got her off the streets and quite a few other young ladies, which was kind of a bad thing for the Whispers because their early fans in Oakland, they were all pimps. They were all traffickers. And those dudes are like, same, man, you messing up the game. Pimping ain't easy. Y'all making it even harder. I guess. But the Whispers went on undeterred. And they and by the time 78, 79 rolls around, Dick Griffey has a new hotshot young producer named Leon Silvers III, who of course had his family group, the Silvers, and he had just been voted out of his family group. Yikes. But Dick Griffey said, I like what his production can do. So I'm making him my lead producer. And he started producing stuff for Shalimar, Lakeside, and he got around to the Whispers around 79 and said, all right, these boys need something that's going to get people on the dance floor. And The Beat Goes On was born. And a run of success that just absolutely, for guys that age, because you got to remember, the Whispers first started recording in 1964. They did not see what we would consider pop success until the first half of 1980. So we're talking 15 plus years in this, a long time. You're not going to see that again because people who make music for, commercial appeal, you get maybe 1 or 2 singles or 1 or 2 albums these days. That's it. You're done. These dudes put out album upon album upon album, single upon single upon single, Soul Train appearance upon Soul Train appearance. And it took until the 1980s when these guys were good and grown. I mean, the Scott twins were 36. Nicholas Caldwell was about the same age. Lavelle Degree was the baby in the group, and he was 31. So, I mean, these guys had, they literally they didn't run from the grind. The Whispers did not run from the grind, people. They stuck it out, and by the time the 80s were over, they were one of the best groups to ever do it. And they toured off the strength of everything they had done even before the Solar years became so fruitful for them. I'll never forget, because I'm going to tell you a really quick story. I love telling stories, in case you haven't noticed. My personal YouTube channel is more about professional stories, but I love telling stories regardless. So my mom loves Frankie Beverly, and we'll talk more about why that's important in a minute. But the first time I went to see the Whispers, Frankie was headlining. This was Patty Jackson's party in the park at the Dell Music Center. So this is my first time seeing the Whispers, and it was because Nick Caldwell was, he had retired because he was having heart problems. He would pass away later that year, probably about the beginning of January 2016, because this was the summer of 2015. So Scotty, he's singing I can't remember if it was I Want to Know Your Name from the Intruders or a stylistic song. Matter of fact, it was I Want to Know Your Name. And he started talking about, see, we used to sing to girls and we used to sing to whatever part we knew would turn them on. Like if a girl had a great bun, like she had a bunion on her feet, and Scotty starts harmonizing, you had the most beautiful bunion. Like it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. So 9 years later, Frankie Beverly announces that this is his swan song. And we really found out that it was his swan song. So he had 2 dates at the Dell last July, July 4th and July 6th. And my mom is a huge Frankie Beverly fan, probably his biggest. And she said, well, I've seen Frankie enough. I guess I can miss this last time. I said to myself, the hell you can. We gone. So I scrounged together as many coins as I could. And I was lucky enough to get 3 really good tickets, because the Dell, if you're a Philadelphia person or if you're looking to see a show in Philly during the summer, the Dell Music Center does not have a bad seat at all. There's not a bad seat. It's an open amphitheater. There's trees in the background, so it kind of sort of takes off the heat factor, even though it still gets pretty damn hot, but it's not unbearable. But yes, the Dell doesn't have a bad seat in the house. So I got 3 tickets because I know me and my mom were going to go, and it's either going to be an aunt or a cousin. One of my cousins came with us, and we had a great time. And the Whispers opened for Frankie, and they wore all white, just as Frankie did. A funny side note to that. I'm very sensitive about how I look in colors. As you can see, I usually wear black and gray on these shows. So I wore a burgundy red Phillies t-shirt, and I was probably one of the only few people wearing anything non-white in the building. It's because me, my mom, and my cousin, we were jamming it, and then somebody taps me on my shoulder. I'm like, wow, I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'10". I'm like, geez, am I obstructing somebody's view? No, it's a childhood friend and his wife. And we was like, yo, what's up, man? And this dude is about 6'2", 6'3", 230, proudly wearing all white. And I'm like, well, I look stupid. I should have went ahead and wore all white because it's Frankie. But seeing the Whispers one final, I didn't know that was going to be the last time I would see the Whispers as the Whispers, with Walter and Scott. And it was a great time. I mean, looking back on it now, I'm really glad that I was able to make that memory happen for my mom and now for myself, because as an old school music fan, it wasn't anything better than seeing the Whispers and Frankie on the same bill one final time. And just, I mean, the Whispers music, I'm going to do a separate episode about the Whispers music because it just makes more sense to do that. But I just wanted to talk about Walter and how he and Scotty just persevered all the way till the end. And my thoughts are definitely with Scotty because, I mean, people lose relatives all the time, but imagine this is the same dude who is your mirror image. Y'all came out the same womb together. Your mom moved y'all out to LA the same time. Everything in the music business, all your successes, all your hard times, all your great times, all the concerts, all the shows, and just the fact that y'all are family. Like, my thoughts are with Scotty because for the last 2 or 3 days, he hasn't been able to see the person who he's known the closest for 81 years. That is unfathomably hard. My thoughts just go out to him. My thoughts go out to Lavelle. Howard Hewitt, the great singer, posted a great picture on Facebook, said there's 40 plus years of love here, and we are all crying today. I mean, Howard Hewitt, was a hot shot with Shalimar by the time the Whispers got, going in the late 70s. So those guys have usually been on the same bill together. Howard Hewitt and Shalimar, Lakeside, Midnight Star, Dynasty, Carrie Lucas. I mean, Solar, we need a Solar episode really, really badly. I need to do a Solar episode so bad, boy. But the Whispers were sort of like the elder statesman. To put this in a professional sports term, when the Lakers won the championship that pandemic year, they had Anthony Davis, they had Rajon Rondo, they had really talented role players, but LeBron James was LeBron James. The Whispers were the LeBron James of Solar Records, the elder statesman who could still deliver when they needed to deliver. And the Whispers delivered all the way through. And my thoughts are with everybody. That was a crusher. I'm still trying to get over it because it's like, yo, I mean, I understand, what it's like to lose an artist that you admire young because Big Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac died when I was 15 years old. I mean, in fact, Tupac died 2 weeks before my 15th birthday, and then Big died in March of 97. And DMX, who's like a personal hero of mine, I'll explain that on a later episode. He died in 2021. And that dude, that's probably one of the hardest passings of a musician or rapper that I have ever taken. Like, it's just, I mean, it still bothers me. So imagine how a lot of our elders feel. I mean, think about the black music icons we've lost so far this month. We lost Sly. We lost Wayne Lewis of Atlantic Star, and now Walter Scott of The Whispers. Like, for boomers, Gen Xers, this is a gut punch. This is an unadulterated gut punch. And I cannot imagine how the OGs feel right now. But if you know somebody who's like a real deep Whispers fan or just an old school music fan who grew up in that time period, just, just be close to them, just help them through this because, I mean, it dawns on them too that Father Time comes for everybody, every single one of us. And when you see somebody like Walter Scott dying at 81, Sly dying at 82, Wayne Lewis dying at 67 or 68, actually, it's hard, especially when you have parents that are getting up there in age, and it's hard. I mean, life and death is not an easy thing. Death is certainly not an easy thing to talk about, but hopefully, people remember the great times Walter Scott and Scotty had with the Whispers, and that music will live forever. That music is going to outlive all of us because they just put together a wonderful run late in the game for them. Like, Stardom didn't just drop on the Whispers from the word go. They had to go make Stardom happen. And by God, they did it. Rest in peace to Walter Scott, man. We're going to miss you so much. And that's going to do it for day 28 of the BMM 30 series here on the Groove Line. Thank you all for watching. Contact information will be in the description below. Don't forget to like and comment on these videos. We have good conversations in the comments. What's your favorite Whisper song? Would love to know. And we can talk about that. And as the more comments and likes we get, the more eyes and ears, so I'm putting myself in the damn eye this time, can be on this channel. And don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you get notified of all the new content that drops on this channel. So thank y'all once again for riding with me on the Groove Line. Until the next time we ride, y'all be good or be good at it. Rest in peace, Walter.